music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with me, Tom Alvarez. On today's episode, my guests are two of Central Indiana's most popular performers. Choreographer, actor, singer, and dancer Kenny Shepard, and actor, singer, dancer Tim Hunt. Join me now as I go on the aisle for a conversation with Kenny and Tim. So welcome, Kenny, and welcome, Tim. I'm so happy this worked out. I'm thrilled to see you.
Well, we're delighted to be here. Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
And this all came about because I ran into you guys in the lobby. Was it before the intermission of the Songbook Academy finals?
Yeah, I think it was intermission. Yeah.
Yeah. So in any case, I've seen your work for years. I've been covering the arts for a really long time, and I don't remember how far back, but it was either, for both of you, you're both so busy here in Indy. You appear regularly. Kenny, I've seen you in Beef and Boards Dinner Theater primarily.
Yeah, I was there for a while, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen, you do the Christmas shows there primarily.
Yeah, I used to, yes.
And Tim, I'll never forget Hedwig.
Yeah.
Hedwig, remind me of the full title.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
And the Angry Inch. I've seen it a couple times. Am I wrong?
I've done it a couple times, yeah.
And the one that I remember the most, it was magical because it was just the room itself. I'd never been. Is it the Epilogue?
Yeah.
And it was, the atmosphere, the venue itself. Yeah. I was transported to Berlin.
Yeah, they really transformed that space. That's where the Epilogue Players, which is a community theater, they do plays there. And Zach just kind of transformed it into a trashy punk club.
Did you do it again at the outdoor space?
At the Phoenix, yes.
During COVID?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was quite an entrance because, I thought, well, the important thing is to see them at the first appearance, the first time. And so your entrance was actually from across the street.
Yeah.
With this, was it a cape you had on?
Oh yeah, it was a really long cape.
Yeah, really long cape. So it was he walked from the Phoenix across the street to the parking lot.
An umbrella that covered me to walk across the street.
It was sort of like Beyonce or Lady Gaga.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, to me, it was.
That was a lengthy entrance.
It was a bit of a walk in those boots.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
So I take it there was music underscored as you were making.
Well, we just kind of would sneak across the street, and then I would hide.
There was no sneaking, though. I'm sorry. In those boots and that wig, there was no sneaking.
Wow. And the reason I was at the Songbook Academy was because I was reviewing it, and I've been covering it since the very beginning, so I feel very close to that particular event because it's one of my favorites, actually.
Well, it's my new favorite, and actually I just started 2 years ago because they didn't really have much staging before. It was much more like a concert, and they wanted to kind of up the game a bit and have it more staged, a little more theatrical, more like a cabaret or a symphony performance.
Well, you certainly did your job.
Thank you.
Did you read my review, hopefully?
I didn't know you wrote one, so I'm going to check it right now as soon as Tim starts talking.
I gave you a shout out.
Thank you.
But it's the same shout I gave you in the lobby. I was really impressed with those. For our audience, the Songbook Academy, it's a week-long summer intensive. We'll talk about all that. And you choreographed the 5 separate group numbers. They broke down the 40 kids into 5 groups.
That's right.
They each had, they were a team, and they were named after their mentors, the music director and a vocal coach.
That's right.
And so the groups for each did a medley, and your job was to make them all different and make them fresh. And I could tell that I mean, what an achievement, really. I mean, really, because to create all of those, tell me about the process. How do you do that?
I appreciate that. I'll tell you, it's challenging because I only have about an hour and 15 minutes with each group to set the pieces. So the music is established a couple days, well, sometimes the day before the rehearsal. So I'm up the night before or the morning of creating it. And an hour 15 is not much time with those teams, but they are very focused, and I try to make sure everyone has movement that is achievable, that makes them look good, but most importantly, tells the story of the medley they're doing.
But don't you have to? At what point do you actually? When are you present to meet them and see them work? I mean,
it's challenging because I work across the street doing a camp for Civic Theater during that same week each year. So as soon as that is done, I rush over, sometimes during a lunch hour, and I have an hour. Like the first group I start with on Monday, and the last group that I see, I don't really see until Wednesday, and then they perform it on Saturday. So it's a pretty quick turnaround, and then we only have about 20 minutes on the Palladium stage to actually space it out.
But how can you tell if any have if they can dance?
Well, a lot of them,
how good they are at it.
Well, that is the challenge, Tom. Let me tell you.
You can't really audition now.
Oh no, there's a program, so I really kind of study the program. I see their credits, and a few of them. I think a few of them were from Indiana, and I knew that they were dancers. And I always ask, the very first few minutes, who is a dancer? Who dances as well as you sing? Because these are the top 40 vocalists in the country, high school age. And so if a few hands go up, I think, well, that's pretty brave. And probably they're not being too humble. They're just being honest. And then I just sort of rework it in my head and try to add a couple little dance features as appropriate.
He's also got a really good eye. He can usually pick that out just from the way that people carry themselves.
You had to put them in the back, because I hear that's your secret. The good dancers you put in front.
It is not only my secret; it's a lot of people's secret.
Well, I looked closely. To me, it looked flawless. That's to your credit.
You're very
seamless.
Nice.
No,
I usually, especially with only an hour, I will show something, one or two times, and I can tell, okay, that is not going to happen by Saturday. So I will adjust it on the fly. I will say there was one year where there was a young woman who claimed that she was really a better dancer than she was a singer, and I threw about 4 8s at her of dance pretty quickly, and that was misguided information. So again, you have to be pretty. You have to be pretty optimistic.
How long have you been a choreographer?
Oh gosh, I moved back to Indianapolis after 9/11 from New York and started choreographing. So 20 some years now.
Oh, I didn't know that you lived there. How long were you in New York?
I was in New York almost 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are you from Indianapolis?
I grew up in Indianapolis. Yeah, I sure did.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Warren Central on the east side, and then I started at IU in Bloomington and ended up at Butler.
Okay.
I graduated from Butler.
Both great programs.
Yeah,
Why did you switch to Butler?
Well, I started at IU as a journalism major.
Really?
But then I found my freshman year, well, even before my freshman year, I was doing a theme park show at 17. And then my freshman year, I was singing Hoosiers and the IU dance ensemble. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm not really doing anything as a journalism major. So let's rethink that. And then I auditioned for Butler and got into that dance program and made the big switch.
And what year did you receive your degree?
Do I have to say 1989? Yeah.
Don't forget there's Google.
You're right. Well, why lie? Yeah, 1989.
Tell me about your background.
My background, gosh. Well,
where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Lawrence Central.
Okay.
I was in show choir there. Show choir was my life.
Those two schools are really competitive.
Yeah.
With their show choir programs, music programs.
Great performing arts programs.
Yeah.
So that's where I really developed my love for theater and performing. And after that, I went straight into the workforce, worked for a mortgage company for a little while, and then moved on to a mutual fund company, worked there for a long, long time, and did a lot of community theater earlier on. I started that kind of right out of high school, and then would do an occasional show at different theaters like ATI, and just kind of off and on since then.
What was your choice to not go professional? Tell me about it.
I don't really get super nervous to perform, but for some reason I get incredibly nervous to audition. And just the thought that I would have to risk everything on auditioning and just have to pound the pavement in that way to make ends meet was too much for me. I would rather have a little bit more of a secure paycheck.
So does that mean you don't take rejection well?
No,
that's
no.
true.
It's not the thought of rejection. It's just I get really nervous when it's time to audition for something.
Yeah.
Well, and we had a conversation after the first Hedwig, because I was pretty blown away. I didn't, honestly, I had no idea that you had all that in you. And I said, this is the time, if you are ever going to do this, you should, you should move to New York and just give it a whirl for a few months.
That was also an opportune moment, because when I was in rehearsals for Hedwig the first time that I did it, the company that I worked for downsized and I lost my job. So I'd been there almost 20 years. And so it was just kind of a transition period and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was like, absolutely not. I don't want that kind of stress or pressure.
So have you regretted? No regrets.
No regrets, no. Because I think if I had gone into theater as a paycheck, I wouldn't be doing it because I love it. And it would just not, I wouldn't have the passion for it that I do now.
Marnie Lemons was on the show recently, and she talked about, she offered it that they sometimes get criticized for not pay, why don't you pay your people? Mm-hmm. And she made the point, well, that first of all, it's not our business model. And actually, the people who perform for us, we choose people who do it for the passion. Right. They have to do it. Mm-hmm. And they're very happy with their jobs. And they just made a conscious choice. So you fit that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say so. And now I do hair. I'm a hairstylist. I've been doing that for over 5 years now.
I didn't know that.
When I finally arrived at that conclusion that that's what I wanted to do, I thought, well, this will give me a little bit more control over my schedule, and it will give me the opportunity to pursue some more theater, to audition more. And
so do you have your own shop?
I don't. I work at a salon called Method Salon in Carmel. Okay. And I help manage that
Where's
salon.
Where's it located if people want to go and find you?
It is it's on Carmel Drive.
Good luck with that appointment. But it's pretty booked.
It's on Carmel Drive. It's just east of Old Meridian on Carmel Drive.
And do they have a website?
Yes, methodsalon.com.
That's why we're here, Tom.
Yeah. Give us a call. You can
shameless promotion.
You can submit a request online for an appointment. We'll call you back. You can just give us a call.
And do you do men and women?
I do.
Okay.
I do it all.
Well, that's the norm now.
Yeah. Not kids, but men and women.
Yeah. So, Kenny, you performed at a number of venues. We talked about Beef and Boards. We talked about, you brought up Boots Tarkington. And what are some of the other venues that you worked with?
I started out, as I said, I won't give you the whole deal. When you say I started out, you're like, oh, here we go. But I did, I think I've worked at every theme park in the world, it seems like, as a young person going through college.
Name some of them.
Well, I started off at some really small parks. One was called Geauga Lake. One was called Darien Lake in upstate New York. And then I thought, for me, I really hit the big time and did Kings Island for many years. And then Busch Gardens. And then I ended up at Disney World for over a year.
Wow.
Which was pretty fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved it. loved it there.
Did you ever do any cruise work?
Yeah, I did a couple, actually did three different contracts. The last one was a world cruise, which was, of course, my favorite. We went to 26 countries.
Wow.
And
so were you one of those performers that in order to book all that work, you had to be in New York to book it?
Well, or Chicago, really. I think I got a lot of the jobs when I was a butler, just driving to Chicago, auditioning. Yeah, but I did love the cruises. That was with Jeannie Ann Ryan, who at the time was kind of the broker for every big ship.
Were these Broadway shows on these ships?
When I was, they did do that.
Reviews?
These were reviews that I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Reviews.
Okay.
Which is it was a lot of fun for me. I'll just say it like that.
And did you do
the glitz and glamour and all that?
Did you do work in New York, and what did you do?
Yeah, so after ships, I just did a lot of regional theater, summer stock, and then at I think I was 29, I moved to New York, and about 6 months in, I got a job at the Supper Club, which was at the Edison Ballroom. It was a swing show with Larry Marshall and a big band. And there were 8 of us in the show, and I ended up doing that for almost 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me about New York, that period of your life.
Yeah, I
Was
put
it
my
the quintessential performers New York City?
I would say yes. I mean, you all can't really see this room, but you can imagine how small this room is. This was the size, Tom, of my apartment, just about.
Is your bathtub and you share?
I did have a bathtub, which was very rare in that building. But
I mean, was it all in the same room? Was it a studio?
Almost, yeah. There was a door, but it didn't really shut, so we can't count it.
Where was it?
It was at 43rd and 8th. The building is called the Times Square.
Hell's Kitchen?
Hell's Kitchen, yeah, a block from Times Square. Yeah, it really was. Loud.
Perfect place for someone who hates crowds.
Yeah, I hate crowds, so I don't know how I ended up there, but I did. It was actors housing, so I qualified through the union. I got a pretty great deal. And
did you have it the whole 6 years?
I did, yeah. I stayed there the whole 6 years. I left from time to time, but there was a period of time where I was doing the Supper Club, and then simultaneously on my day off, I had a gig in Atlantic City at Bally's that I would do 2 nights a week. So it was, in a lot of ways, it was kind of the dream. I was performing, making a living. I had a lot of awful odd jobs as well. But it was a period of time that I'm really happy that I did it, but I don't miss living in New York. Mm-hmm. I like driving to the grocery store.
I've met a number of folks like you who came back from either New York or LA. And they all agree, I'm glad that I did, and I don't ever have to wonder what it was like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It really was a pretty magical, noisy time.
But of course, the stress of going from job to job and never knowing, the performing part, and then the day job stuff.
And I've been in the Actors Union since Disney. So just, trying to get insurance, and you're right, it is a lot of stress and a lot of...
And then New York itself, to just get used to. My brother lived there for 25 years, and I have a lot of friends who live there, and they all agree that it hardens you. You have to put a shell around your armor, because it's hard to go from point A to point B, and the energy can also be... Was it
That's
like that
true.
For you?
Yeah, like Tim said, I'm not great in crowds of people. Mm-hmm. So there were times where I would walk 3 blocks out of the way to go to an audition just to avoid, the tourists in Times Square.
Well, and then the baby strollers.
Yeah, the baby. Well, I was used to that at Disney World.
All the people looking up, at the buildings.
Yeah,
and,
I don't know about
on their phones now.
Yeah, I don't know about the hardened part, because it seems like everybody who was a tourist would come up to me and ask me for directions, and I would think I have that friendly thing going on, but
you have
I don't know.
I think that you have a kind face. You don't have.
Well, let's leave it at that.
Just so approachable.
But I would try to wear black and be this hardcore, Manhattan guy, and then still everybody.
You don't have a rusty bitch face.
Oh, I can't, Tom.
He doesn't even have an active bitch face.
You give me time. You give me Anytime, I'll show it to you.
It's funny how that works, how people perceive you, and you're the exact opposite, How about you, Tim? When I've seen you, you always look serious to me.
I'm shy by nature.
I figured that out. I have to remember that a lot of people are just shy. Yeah. I am, and people think like I'm a snob or I'm arrogant or something.
I think I get that too. Kenny tells me when he first met me, he found me to be aloof.
That is true.
Well, people will believe what they want to believe anyway.
Yeah.
So, Tim, you back to your performance in Hedgewood. Some of the acting choices you made were just phenomenal. I've seen.
Thank you.
The first time I saw the show was the Phoenix production. Mm-hmm. Remember it?
Yeah, that was the very first. I saw that too years ago in the basement.
Who was that? He moved away.
Yeah, his name was
phenomenal.
Blaine?
Blaine.
Something.
Yeah, exactly.
My dear friend Jessica Benge was in that production. She played Yitzhak.
It was in the cabaret space below. So it was an ideal situation.
I didn't know what I was getting into when I went to see that production of it, and I was just blown away.
Tell me about creating that character.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it was so multi-layered.
There's just so much to it, and there's so much material. I mean, and you're right, it is multi-layered, and it's just a brilliant script that's just kind of all over the place. It's funny, it's horrifying, it's touching, it's heartbreaking, it's heartwarming.
It also looked exhausting.
It is exhausting, but it's worth it. I mean, I like going on stage and getting to be very emotional, and that show certainly gives you the opportunity to do that. But I think you just have to dig into it in pieces, like just break it up into sections and chunks. And
it seems like you have the lock on these kind of roles because you're about to reprise Dr. Frankfurter.
Yeah,
and the
that's a fun one.
Zach production coming up, the annual. Right?
Yes, the cast was just announced officially today.
Yeah, and are you choreographing it?
Yeah, I choreographed it last time, and I'm doing it again. Yeah.
Wow. Is it annual?
It's every 2 years.
Okay.
The last time it had been 4 years because of COVID.
Did you do it the last time?
I did it the last time.
Okay, I saw it.
And I had done it once before, not the previous production, but the one before that I played Brad.
Okay. And tell me about working with Zach and Zach.
I love working with Zach and Zach.
Why?
They're so easy to work with. Sometimes, I mean, if you've seen a Zach and Zach production, you know they're incredible. The production value is very high.
I mean, look at the fact that Zach Rosing, his technical.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty brilliant. Yeah, it's stunning and brilliant.
He was doing hybrid video live theater long before anybody.
Yeah, he was building a lot of tech into shows before it was as ubiquitous as it is now. But they're both so approachable and easy to work with. I think sometimes when you work with somebody that's got such a great reputation, and it can be kind of intimidating. But I mean, it really just feels like you're working with friends, and they are friends. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not my way or the highway.
No, and I think that comes from a mutual respect. I mean, them for each other, and then working with them.
Who does what?
Zach,
the two of them.
Zach Niditch does the directing, and Zach Rosing does the producing and a lot of the technical aspects of it. And then I think them both together do the production design.
Is the rest of the cast any, quote, veterans returning?
Yes, there are some folks returning. Not everyone in the same capacity. Elizabeth G., who was in the ensemble last time, will be playing Magenta. And she's phenomenal. I'm excited to see what she does. Matthew Altman, who I believe has been in every Zach and Zach iteration of Rocky Horror, is going to be playing Columbia.
I saw
that. That's super exciting.
Well, I saw him in the men's chorus French show, and I don't know what they called the production number. Well, it was all sort of gender bending, of course. He's really good at gender bending.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He is a lot of fun to work with.
He really is. He's great. And I'm super glad that he's doing it.
And tell me what it was like choreographing last time. And are you going to change up?
Zach Rosing just sent me the video from last time, so I haven't studied it. I was pretty happy with the way it turned out choreographically, so there are a few things that I will boost up, but I was pretty happy with it, which I don't always say. So I'm excited to just reprise a lot of it. Danny Kingston, who I'm sure you know, is going to dance captain for us for the second time. Mm-hmm. He is a fantastic resource. He knows the music inside and out, and he will remember exactly what I did 2 years ago when I will have no idea. And I'll say, what did we do? And he'll show me.
He's back in town.
Oh, me too. Yeah. Danny is the best.
That's great. And Megan Arrington was in it last time. She's in the ensemble again.
Yeah. I have a student from Anderson University named Brittany Davis, who is joining the ensemble as well. So it's always a thrill for me to work with students.
When does it open?
It opens October 18, I believe.
It's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, it runs all through Halloween, and I think it closes November 2nd on the weekend.
Okay, so that's 2 weeks run?
I think it's a 3 weekend run.
Yeah.
I have there's a new
show
woman
on Halloween night.
Oh, great. I'll be there. There's a woman named Logan Hill who is playing Janet, and Logan's parents and I were castmates at Kings Island many, many years ago. So cool. I texted Eric Hill, her father, who is my dear friend, and I said, it's kind of weird, but I'm going to be teaching your daughter a number called Touch It, Touch It, Touch It, Touch Me. And he just sent a laughing emoji back. So, but Logan and I have worked together, so she's young, but awesome, and she'll be a great addition to the cast.
Well, as you know, costumes are such a big part of that show.
Or lack of, yes. Yes, yeah. That is true.
So I'm excited to see what the costumes are going to be like.
I told you that I didn't see it on the ad, but I'll go back and look at it. But tell me who Rocky is.
Yeah, I haven't met the Rocky. His name is Johnny Ray Hughes. Mm-hmm. And I've heard great things about him. And
is he actually blonde?
No, he is a man of color. And
I know who he is.
From what I have,
Jericho's husband partner.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And as far as all the Rocky attributes from the photo that I saw that Zach sent me, he will be fantastic.
Well,
yeah, he looks great.
I've seen him in a lot of stuff. He was in a show that we did, actually. Les Chanteuses.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And he was just eye candy in the show. He, brought on the girls, and it just was sexy.
Yeah. Well, he's a great singer too. Yeah. And I'm excited it's always great to work with new people because I've been back for so long that I feel like I know everybody already.
I need to get Zach and Zach on the podcast, and because I'd love to hear their thoughts about, and that show, and I know it's because of his talent. It's not, although a lot, as you know, a lot more theaters and companies are paying attention to representation. Mm-hmm. Many of them have been doing it long before.
Like Zach and
Black
Zach.
Lives Matter.
Right.
Certainly IRT and Phoenix forever.
Well, and that's another thing that I love about Zach and Zach, because they could easily just remount exactly what they did last time, but they have auditions every time, and it's important for them to keep it fresh, and as you said, to also make it as diverse as possible.
Should reflect our world.
Absolutely, and they work very hard to do that in recruiting and also in announcing the auditions. It's very important to them.
I'm so thrilled as a reviewer, all the years I've been doing this, is to see the representation that's taken place. And now I'm thrilled that it's also taking place behind the scenes. Designers, people of color are in great demand.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I think it's a matter of time before we have more, because, we're still looking at high school students who discover theater because they're consciously being recruited.
Right.
And it's matriculation. It's going to take a generation or two for them to get through college, get some training.
Right.
And we'll see more lighting designers, costume designers. And I talked to Constance Macy and the people at IRT, and they said that there's no shortage of work for these people if they want. They want it. Stage managers.
Yes.
So,
and choreographers, as you said as well. Tim and I were actually just talking about this a few weeks ago. But when I first moved back, Bob Harbin was producing his own shows, and we did a Dreamgirls together with Bill Meyer. And I think now I would never accept that job to choreograph that. That was probably 20 years ago. I loved it. I had a great experience doing it. It should have been a collaboration. And I think, of course, now Bob would make a different decision. But yeah, it's important that all the voices are heard.
Yeah. So, Tim, what other things have you done that I haven't seen that we've talked about? You did Rocky, Hedwig. Remind me of some of the
I've done quite a few things at Actors Theater of Indiana. Of course, for several years, their holiday production was A Year with Frog and Toad. Okay. And I played the snail with the mail. Oh, it's a fun one.
The snail with the mail. Yes.
For a while, that was what if I was recognized for a role, it was that one. Chicago, that was quite a while ago. The last thing I did with Actors Theater of Indiana,
were you in the ensemble in Chicago?
Yes, and I was Fred Casely.
Okay.
That was the first show we did together on stage.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the only time? No, that's not the only time we've been on stage.
No.
We were on stage together in La Cage at ATI. La Cage au Fol.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that.
Yeah, we were both Cagels in that show. Let's see, what else? I was in the most recent concert production of La Casa Azul, Gregory Hancock's.
I saw on Facebook, it was a year ago. On the Memories,
it was last summer. Yeah. Yeah, it was a year ago right now.
Yes.
The Carmel Symphony.
I loved that concert.
That was a lot of fun.
I raved about it. I'd seen all of the versions that Gregory put out there, but it's the concert version that I really appreciated the most.
Yeah, it was great to hear all of that music played live. I mean, the tracks for the productions that were done before were gorgeous. It was a lot of ISO musicians, and it was really, really beautiful. But there's just something about that music being played live by an orchestra that made it magical.
And Gregory knows this. He takes criticism well, and I critique the length of the piece. It wasn't easy for him to edit it out because he recorded it, and you can't go back and. But in any case, I knew the conductor pretty well. Remind me of her.
Jana Himes.
Jana Himes,
moved on, and she cut it. And I'm sure there's a lot of negotiation went on, but I thought it was just really, really well done.
I don't quite understand Gregory's brain. He's a dear friend of ours, but I don't know how he can use every ounce of his brain. I mean, he
artistic in every way that you can imagine.
He writes the music, he costumes, he edits, he obviously choreographs, he runs a business, he runs an academy. I don't understand how he can do all of that.
I think he's brilliant.
He is brilliant.
Really brilliant.
He invited us to dinner, and we went to his house. I'd never been there before. And have you been to his house?
No, but I see his Facebook.
Okay, you got to get an invitation.
Here's my new coffee table, and it's all hand painted.
It's all hand painted, and these tiny little mosaics that are hand painted every frame to every doorway.
Well, Gregory, if you're listening, I'm writing.
It's you got to see it. Just drop by. Well, you can borrow some sugar.
Does it also have? Does it encompass all of the culture?
Yes.
It's put on stage.
Absolutely.
The Indian, the Mexican.
Yes. In every room.
Japanese.
It is like. I mean, I don't mean this. It's like a museum.
It really is
a welcoming museum.
Yeah. You could take all of the art in Gregory's house and fill almost an entire museum. And it's just incredible. You have to look at every inch.
Well, his costumes alone, I look at those and I think, oh my God.
Yeah, and he makes them. He designs and makes them.
Yeah, and he's got his fundraiser coming up in September. It's a fashion show of the costumes.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfect. I mean, I could just see him with all his, like they used to talk about the French nuns. So thousands of beads.
Yes, that's him. Yep.
Gregory, you're going to go blind.
Yeah.
You don't put all that beadwork. No, yeah.
It's really stunning.
What is both of your impression of the arts landscape? You know, that's my thing. I'm here. I'm grateful to have this podcast because I hope to, showcase folks like you, working artists. I don't want just people talking about events. I want to delve deep, and I get to do that. And I believe that I have a bird's eye view of the arts because I cover everything, big and small, and all kinds of artists over the years. But I also hopefully will develop a national audience so that I can shine a spotlight. I really think Indianapolis has become an entertainment hub. Mm-hmm. Not only the big names, partly due to the Palladium, the ISO, Shannon Fursell,
yes,
and Feinstein's at Hotel Carmichael. Mm-hmm. Think about it.
Right.
I don't ever have to go to New York to cover people because I meet them here.
Yeah.
Right? And then I hate using the word local talent. I've discovered over my career that there's talent everywhere.
Right.
In every city. And that whole idea, and I talk about this all the time, but what do you think? I really think that attitude about it, if you're really good, you would be in New York or Chicago or LA. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll let Tim talk about Indianapolis, but you asked about the scene in general or on a more global stage. What is so encouraging to me is I teach at Ball State now, and we have I don't know, a couple thousand students trying to get into the musical theater program, and we might take 24 at most, usually I think 18 to 24. I certainly do. Yeah.
I try to get him on the show, but he had something come up.
He's
I need
busy.
to get him back.
Yeah. Good luck. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
But when I see that sort of drive and how many young people want to get into the arts, it's encouraging. I also have worked for a company called Broadway Junior for about 20 years, and I do a couple festivals for them, one in Atlanta, one in Sacramento. And these are younger students. These are middle school kids. But at the one in Atlanta, we have last year we had 6,000 middle school performers who are doing Broadway Junior products. And I adjudicate and teach master classes. But when you get 6,000 young teenagers or even younger, some of them are 10 or younger in the same room, and they're all excited about the same thing. They know all the words to all the new Broadway songs, and it is their dream collectively to perform. And so when I see that, it's inspiring.
That's great. Did you see Theater Camp?
I didn't know. I have not seen that yet.
That is that live.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
Love that.
Oh, I need to see it. Yeah.
And Ben Platt.
Yes.
It stars in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Well, and they have big hitters that come to speak, like Pasek and Paul, and Stephen Schwartz was there a couple of years ago. And, to be a middle school kid and to be in a class with Pasek and Paul, where can you do that?
Did you do any theater camps, either of you?
I did. And I heard part of the podcast with Marnie, and I think I started at 11 or 12, was a junior civic kid back at the Art Museum. And that's really how I got started. I did a couple shows at Footlight and then started the theme park circuit.
You were a theater nerd.
I was, yeah. And what we say at Broadway Junior is, it's true. It's so important that everybody feels part of a team, whether it's the football team, the chess club, whatever it is. And this is a way for people to participate, to belong to something that is bigger than themselves. And that is important. You have to feel that sense of belonging.
I saw Barry Manilow the other night, and he talked about the song, which was the song. He talked about misfits, being a misfit.
Yeah.
And then he joined the band, and that's where he found his tribe. Mm-hmm. Was it the same for you?
It was the same for me, and I think the same for Tim too.
Absolutely.
But for me, I met my very, very best friends the first day of 7th grade in a school I didn't know anyone. a couple of us are still best friends today. And I think without that belonging and without those experiences, for me, it was the newspaper and the choir and the drama programs. Without that, I would have fallen through the cracks for sure.
And I didn't discover theater until college. But those people are still my friends.
Yeah.
We have an email thread 50 years later.
And that's something.
Yeah, most of them are retired, and some still do a little community theater. But those are the days when you need them the most.
That's right.
Or, tell me your story.
Well, for me, it was high school when I discovered theater, and I didn't know of any theater camps or any programs like that when I was younger than that. But
did you perform in front of your mirror? A mirror?
No.
He had to think about that.
I was never interested in watching myself, which was probably to my detriment because, earlier on when I would see a video of a performance, why did I do it that way? I would do it differently if I knew I looked like that. So I probably should have done it in the mirror a little bit. But for me, it was young adult theater programs like Footlight.
Okay.
That's where I really got started. The very first show that I did outside of high school was Jesus Christ Superstar at Footlight Musicals.
What year was that?
1997, I think. And so I did that program for a few years. And that's where, it was a lot of pockets of kids from different high schools in Indianapolis that all just kind of merged.
That's similar to what Emily does as summer stock.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's where I kind of got my theater bug.
Well, and show choir saved your life.
Show choir, yes, absolutely. Middle school is horrible for everyone, so I just kind of was reclusive going into high school. But I had to sing, so terrified little me auditioned for the show choir, and I got in, and that's just like a built-in family there. And some of my best friends still today are some of those friends.
That's one of the most, what you just said, it's one of the most sort of interesting things for me because, it's part of my story too, being shy. But at the same time, I choose a career in the public eye, TV and all this stuff. It's weird. It's weird.
It seems like an oxymoron to be a performer and be shy at the same time. What I've learned, I learned this, in some personality test or something back when I was in the corporate world, is that I'm what's called an expressive introvert.
Well, that would be me too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kenny, well, how would you characterize?
Well, it's odd because, like I said before, I'm not big in crowds. So if I'm leaving a concert and there are people around me, I get very anxious. But if you were to just drop me on stage and say, Phil, for 5 minutes, here's your topic, I'm like, oh, okay. So I feel very comfortable doing that. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons I love being in so many reviews, Disney and on and on and on, is I don't really have a problem being myself on stage. I find it to be fun and energizing.
And I'd rather be somebody else.
Have either of you done plays?
I have not done many plays. The last play that I did was in summer stock many, many years ago. But
what was it?
It was. I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to think about it. A Trip to Bountiful.
Oh my!
Yeah. That's a mouthful.
Love that show.
Yeah, I'm glad I remembered that. Yeah.
Who did that locally? Was it here?
No, I did it at Wagon Wheel, actually.
Oh, Wagon Wheel?
Yes, sir.
I know Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, I love Wagon Wheel.
Did you perform there?
Oh, many, many years ago. It was funny because I went to New York and the first job that I got was back in Indiana, which was at Wagon Wheel.
Who was the director?
Roy Hine.
Okay.
He's passed.
Before that, there was... I had people I went to college with who performed at Wagon Wheel during the summers, and the professor who ran the company was so well known and so respected. He taught at what's the Chicago
Northwestern. Mm-hmm.
And those kids many of them went on to New York.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but they were quality.
Well, they still have fantastic shows and talent. A lot of few thousand people will submit to do their shows,
so
and
it's still.
It is going strong.
I'm from Fort Wayne, so it's right up the road.
Yeah.
Isn't that where you met Cindy Collins?
Yeah, Cindy Collins and I did Wagon Wheel together.
She was at Wagon Wheel?
We were there the same year. I did my first show there was The Wizard of Oz. I was the Scarecrow, and it's in the round. So I constantly got turned around because I was always falling around on the stage and flopping about. And so Cindy and others would just turn me around and point me in the right direction in the circle, and there off I would go.
That's so funny.
But we've been friends a long time.
Those are mad. I auditioned for it, and I don't know. I got through like 4 bars. Thank you. I was like humiliated. I mean, I overthought it is what I did. I got so.
You should have gone back. Yeah.
I was so nervous. Gosh. So what's in the future for you guys beyond Rocky? Oh, by the way, we didn't talk about Boots Harkington. That's a big part of your history.
Yes. Well, as I said, I started there when I was so young, 11 or 12, and now I teach the camps there. Okay, right. There's also, with Ann Beck, there's a program called the Young Artist Program, similar to what Emily does. And Ann does usually the big show in the Tarkington. And then Gianna Tavianini, who teaches at Ball State with me, we put together a show called Review, which is sort of like a cabaret in the studio space. And that's usually 16 high school kids. They tell me their stories. I ask them questions, and we sort of weave together a script and a song list. And it's about an hour long. It's great.
Chorus line.
It is a little chorus line without a double pirouette.
That's hilarious. Have you met? Do you know everyone in the dance community?
I know.
You all know each other, don't you?
I would say we know a lot of the same people.
Are you involved with Marilee Greenlee's?
The Dance Council.
I don't know her last name.
Yeah, we did. I actually taught for her last summer at their intensive at Butler, and she did me a couple of favors years ago. I was doing a benefit at St. Luke's Church for Habitat for Humanity, and I asked her and Brandon Comer if they would dance for me.
They did a beautiful
and
dance.
They did a beautiful
both
job.
Of them choreographed. Marilee choreographed our Call to the Musical.
That's right. Yes.
And Brandon choreographed our cabaret show Les Chanteuses. But anyway, the reason I asked you about that is I'd love to have her on the show too to talk about her work.
She's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. And tell me what that organization does.
Well, she would answer better than I, but I believe the Indy Dance Council is here to promote dance locally and beyond. It provides resources for dancers, because a lot of times you want to take a dance class, but where do you go? Because everyone's 8 years old in little tutus. So it provides opportunities for adults who want continuing education, and also for teachers to network and share their experiences.
Kind of a one-stop shop kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a professional or an adult and you need guidance in the dance world, that's where to go.
That's great. Yeah. Tim, let's get back to that question I asked both of you before about what is your observations regarding the local arts scene, performing arts scene?
Well, it seems like anymore you're seeing like a new group or a new performing space or a new type of artistic outlet popping up on social media, and there's almost too many to delve into. And I've said to Kenny many times, it's really a shame that we don't take advantage of as many opportunities as we do.
Do you see shows?
We do. Not enough. We don't see enough. Yeah. Obviously we know a lot of performers in Indianapolis, and we couldn't even begin to see, everyone's projects, but, we're trying more and more.
No. Yeah. Well, tickets cost a lot of money too.
They do, but it's worth it to, to support local performers.
Sure. Yeah. Good to hear that. Well, I also have a friend we talked on the show about when he was a young man, his professors say, are you going to go see so-and-so, like a jazz artist? And he kind of blew it off. And then he realized later that his professor was right. He should take advantage of all kinds of art forms.
Absolutely.
Ballet, symphony, opera, because all of it relates to each art form. Do you agree?
I do. And I'm surprised that a city, this is a big size city, but as you mentioned before, we have, just like the sports here, we have kind of a world-class theater community here with all the venues. There is, when I, back to the songbook, there are these 40 really talented singers that come in from all over the country. And we're up on the Palladium stage, and I look around and I thought, I rarely have ever performed on a stage as beautiful as this at my age. And for them, I just want them to realize the opportunity they have at 15 to be on this incredible stage with this band behind them, and just the aesthetic of it and the acoustics. The venues are great.
Chris Lewis and Michael both have told me that they know that it's life changing.
It is, yeah,
it's life changing. Even if they don't go into the profession, they recall, and they have this network that will go on for the rest of their lives.
That's right. Yeah.
Like my email thread, with my 70-year-old theater classmates.
Right.
That's when you're molding.
Yeah. You keep those connections,
by
right?
Your teachers, your professors, and all the people that you perform with.
Well, Chris did a pretty great thing. When it started, it was a competition, as you remember. Yeah. And there was one winner and a few finalists. And really only those performers got to perform at the big venue. Mm-hmm. And it was important for Chris and Renee Lasciaza to change that so that it was really, instead of having one ambassador, they now have 40. Yeah. And that's why they have the teams that I work with. So everyone gets to sing on the stage. Everyone participates in an equal way.
For our listeners, and I just remember I got criticized. I have a hater. I'm joking. Well, that tells me I've arrived.
That's right. You got to have one.
Got to have something. No, this person, and I thanked him for it, because the podcast is like radio. You can't assume everyone knows who you're talking about. So when I mention people, I need to let people who don't know who I'm talking about, let them know. And Chris Lewis is the executive director, and I want to give him a major shout out.
That's right. Yes,
he does amazing work. I don't know when he sleeps. He's already started on next year's.
Right.
So how did you like working with Chris?
I don't really work on site with Chris so much, because he's kind of behind the scenes.
Oh,
but
of course.
Chris and I were friends, we're neighbors and friends in New York, actually. So I've known him a long, long time.
That's right. Well, again, for people who don't know, Chris is a performer.
That's
singer,
right. A great
correct?
singer. That's right.
Yeah.
And Renee Lasciaza, who I mentioned, assists Chris, and I'm really kind of in the trenches with her. She also does not sleep for about 3 weeks during July. There's so much going on. And she was a student of mine when I would freelance at Carmel High School. And I remember Renee. Have you met Renee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I first met Renee, she was a sophomore, I think, and she picked up the dance the fastest of this piece I was teaching. And then she left. I'm like, where did that petite brunette go? Well, she of course is accompanying the group, and she was also the president of the group, and she's got that brain sort of like Gregory Hancock, where I just don't understand it.
So Kenny, how did you get that gig? Tell me the whole scoop.
Well, like I said, they had just kind of stood and sang more like a concert, and Chris and Renee had the idea to just raise the stakes. I think that was some feedback from Michael Feinstein as well, that they wanted it to just be a little more polished. They thought they had time to add in some staging, and so luckily they each thought of me, and that's how it happened.
I love the way they're growing artistically the product. They're adding new things like the orchestra.
Yes.
Did they do that last year, by the way?
They had a smaller orchestra. It was, I think, a little bit bigger this year, yeah.
And I understand that the songbook is in the works there. I don't know if it's going to happen next year, but they're going to make musicians a part of the program.
I have not heard that. That is a great idea.
Yeah, and then we're talking about like a Songbook Academy orchestra.
That is fantastic.
It makes perfect sense.
It really does. It does, yeah.
Yeah, have them all, have the live music with the orchestra as opposed to just the pianist. But the pianist alone. Did you get to work with? You got to work with all those music directors.
I did, yeah,
and vocal coaches.
I did. One of them, Russ, and I'll have to look for his last name. We were just having dinner together, and he mentioned, when I music directed for Frank, and I'm like, Frank Sinatra? And then he said, yeah, that was before, I was with Liza and Rita. I'm like, Moreno? He's like, oh yeah, that's her. But the fantastic thing, Tom, is that the kids, they're 15, 16, 17. They don't necessarily know Rita Moreno or Liza Minnelli even, but they will, believe me, they will go Google it that night, and they will figure it out, and they will listen to Liza for an hour and come come back with some lick that she does. And they are so ambitious, and they really have the love for jazz and that repertoire.
Well, I'll tell you, music directors for me, I've had several on this podcast, and one of them being Ted Firth, who's like played for all and Michael Orland.
Yes.
I'm hoping to get Billy Stritch on. I've met Billy here. He's performed for ATI and others, and those guys are very humble.
Yes.
They don't drop names, but they played with everybody.
That's right.
You know, the biggest names, like Billy Stritch played for Liza, and Ted Firth plays for Michael Feinstein. Did you interact at all with Michael?
Yeah, I've met Michael a few years ago, and he amazes me in his memory because he can, you saw the interviews with all of those fantastic singers.
I always say, well, yeah.
I mean, he really wants to know them, and he does. He gets to know them, where they're from, their range, what they want to work on that week. But then we, after we went out, Tim and I went out, and we're having dinner after, and Michael comes over, and then the memory again, he's talking about meeting Liza for the first time, and Lorna, and so he remembers
and he knows
everything.
What year it was.
Yes, and the restaurant and what
really
they ordered.
To talk to.
Yeah, he's so interesting. But
well, his knowledge of the Great American Songbook, but show business in general, and all the people he talks, and it's certainly not name dropping, but these are just people he knows.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, the first time we met him, he came to see La Cage that we were both in, that Tim mentioned at ATI.
So he doesn't know he met us.
Yeah, we didn't tell him that. Oh, we met you a few years ago. We just looked a little different.
Even if how could he recognize you? Because you were dressed as one.
Yeah, we're saving that for next year. We'll pull out the picture,
or not,
or not. We probably won't.
Did that make you nervous when you knew he was out there? Did you?
No, I think we were just excited. Yeah. What made me nervous, Tom, was the opening night where Tim at the place is not even remotely ready to go in his drag.
Kind of a trend for me.
Yeah. So I vowed I would never do a show with him again, although I have.
Tim, you know that drag, that you've done has become mainstream.
Yeah.
And it's omnipresent.
Yeah.
Everywhere I turn around, families there's the controversy about, drag queens doing those readings in libraries. Yeah. That's how far it's gone. And of course, all the pushback about it is it's just making it more popular.
Right.
So thank you, conservatives.
Right.
No offense to anybody listening, but so anyway, people just don't get it. What female impersonation has been around forever.
Yeah.
And it's an art form to impersonate a female.
It really
what
is.
It gets down to it.
And I think people don't understand everything that goes into it and how difficult it is. And like, I don't think I could ever be a drag performer, like just as a performer. I couldn't be a drag queen. I don't think that I would have what it takes, the stamina and the time and the quick wit and all of that. I could do something scripted. I can play a drag queen that's scripted in a show.
And then, of course, there's lip sync, and then there's live singing. Two different things.
Right.
And I think lip syncing is certainly an art form in itself.
Absolutely.
You can also be very, to be able to, to pull that off, make people believe you.
Right.
Is a real talent.
Well, and there's a lot of improv involved in that too. I mean, you're feeling the music. You can be as prepared as you want to be, but really, I think if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race or go to a drag show, I think some of the most successful things about watching a drag queen perform and lip sync is it's the decisions they're making right there in real time.
But my heart's still broken that I reached out to you to do an audition for Jewel Box Review, and you blew me off. But I won't hold.
I don't know who you're talking to. Not me. Oh, I was like, yeah, I didn't.
But now that you've told me that you're shy, I'll give you a pass.
Ask again.
Well, I mean, and this even kind of like improv is something that terrifies me, and I think there's a very large element of of being a really
but your
successful.
talent's in demand because you can sing.
Well, thank you.
And the folks that were in our show, they had to be able to sing. And we're doing another show, a one-woman show for I'll give myself a plug. Dustin and I are creating a show for Madison Avenue, well-known quote drag performer.
Oh, yeah,
and he sings.
Yeah.
And it's her life story in which we're writing the script for. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I think it should do well. And I don't think that there are very many people who can do drag artistry and sing.
And sing live, yeah.
You know, I think that's the next thing. Actually, as you know, there are performers like that around the country who are natural acts.
Well, I think we're finding too musical theater performers. Like I have a student from Anderson University who I saw recently, a really accomplished singer, actor, and he said, I'm going to get into drag. And I think now it's kind of going in reverse, that you're an established musical theater person and you're choosing drag as an avenue so you can sing live.
You know how it transitioned to, I did a lot of research and we did Jewel Box Review. All those performers, they toured from the 30s through the 70s. The deceit was the way they marketed themselves. They mostly played to straight people. They marketed themselves as being straight, and most of them were married. Not true. But that's what the deceit was, and that's why they drew all the mainstream people that they did. So, but the reason when they went out of business, a lot of it had to do theaters didn't want to pay people for all those production costs. You know, they had lighting and big venues and big nightclubs and all. So someone had the great idea, well, why can't I just sing to a record?
That's right.
You know, no production costs.
Which is a talent in itself. You're right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, you would you do Hedwig again?
I would.
Hedwig. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Mouthful. I would love to do Hedwig again.
That may be one of Zach and Zach's next creation. I mean, they've done it
they've done it twice.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would do it if they did, and they asked me to do it. I would be all over it. Yeah.
I
think they know that. Yeah. The last time when they decided to do it a second time, Zach Rosing texted me and said, we're tossing around the idea of doing this again. This was, it was during COVID, so it was going to be outside, and it was going to need to be relatively easy to put up. And he was like, we're going to do it if we can pull it together quickly. So we would need you to be on board if we were going to do it. And we wanted to see if you had any interest. And I think I replied with some expletives, a very enthusiastic reply. And he just said, I thought that's what you'd say.
When you do a show again after some time away, is it easy to pick up the dialogue and the song lyrics?
I mean, it's easier, but
you have to rememorize.
Yeah, you do. But I like to approach it from a fresh perspective and see what I can bring to it that is newer or deeper than what I did before. I love revisiting a role. And like any role, honestly, like I said, I did A Year with Frog and Toad with ATI, I think 6 times. Wow. And I was playing a snail. But I loved getting to do that over and over again with some time in between, because it allowed me to bring more and more to that role.
Kenny, do you at Ball State, so is it Bill Jenkins who has given it its prestige?
I think he was very smart to kind of build the program from the ground up and build it in a really positive way. And I think there are many smart things he's done. One is that he brought in Sutton Foster be an associate director and mentor.
Did Liz Calloway do some stuff?
Yes.
As well? Okay.
There are a lot of people that come through. And of course that gives Ball State, a boost nationally. And he just rides the waves. And
it sounds like they're on a competitive with IU and their program.
The trajectory is pretty astounding. And it's cracking some fantastic, musical theater lists. We have many students on Broadway and doing national tours. And that really is all, I give Bill all of that credit. There, as you probably know, there is, I think, maybe a $40 or $50 million renovation for the arts at Ball State with new theaters, new dance spaces, all connected to sort of the nightlife where eateries are. So you can make an experience.
Put in a good word for me so I can get on on his calendar. I'm really
absolutely
impressed with what he has done, because I've seen their cabaret students the 2 or 3 times at downtown.
At Shannon's,
yeah, remarkable.
Well, and not only does he do that showcase, but also there's a showcase in Chicago that I choreograph, and another Chicago in New York, showcase in New York, and one in LA. So depending on the student's interests, whether it's film or musical theater or acting or primarily dance, they can choose the city they want to do the showcase in.
What's your schedule? How often are you up there?
Well, it's a new schedule, but I'll be there 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I kind of had to do that because I had some other projects. Rocky, as we mentioned, I'm doing a show at the Children's Museum, doing 9 to 5 at ATI. I'm going to put my plugs in now. So it was important for me that I had a schedule where I could still do the other things that I was committed to doing, and Bill was able to honor that.
That's wonderful that you can make a living at your craft here. And that's another thing that, it seems like there are more and more pros who are doing that.
Well, when I look back from when I started to try to build a career, I kind of moved back to take care of my parents. And I thought, well, I'll give it a whirl and see if I can make a living here. And when I think about 20 years ago, how different it is, how much more there is now, it's really encouraging.
Do you agree with those professionals who build their careers, and there's a theory that they've done that and successfully because they treat everybody with kindness? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, let's see. How can I say this diplomatically? There are times, in the arts where there's frustration, there is a difference of opinion. I'll be honest and tell you that my favorite thing to do is direct and choreograph at the same time, so that I am kind of my own boss. I also collaborate with Carol Warcell and a few other people really, really well. There are times when the collaboration doesn't always work, and that's when I come home to Tim and, use different expletives than he mentioned before. And, you have to just take a day, occasionally you have to take a day or two and say, well, listen, this is what I'm hired to do. I'm not hired to run this entire thing. The choreography will be what it is, and you learn who to work with again and who not to. But I really try to encourage all of my students to never burn a bridge. And even if it's a place you won't go back to that you didn't enjoy, you don't know who they are going to talk to about recommending you or pushing your name forward.
So true.
Yeah.
And it's just not in his nature to burn a bridge.
So for both of you, it's been great having you, but I always like to ask my guests, what's your advice to young people who may be hearing this and thinking about finding a place for themselves in the performing arts? Especially you, Tim, talk about, how this shy kid managed to do what you do. I mean, those who are holding back because of fear or insecurity or whatever.
Well, I think by nature, performers and theater kids especially are very collaborative and welcoming and encouraging to one another. And if you find yourself being drawn to performing, the earlier the better to start. I think if there are programs available to you, like, civic theater, young adult programs, things like that, even just shows at your school, get involved in that, dabble in it. If you're not sure, or if you think it's something you will love, just give it a try. Start there and assess what your comfort and tolerance level is, and go for it.
And you have a special perspective as a educator. So tell me what. Well,
I agree with what Tim said. I would also say there are opportunities for everyone. I wasn't privy to a lot of classes growing up financially. Especially if you're a young man and you walk into a dance studio and say, I want to take class here, most studios will say, well, listen, you take out the trash, mop up the floors, and we'll give you a class for free. You will find those opportunities because you will find mentors and educators that want to help you, that want to inspire you. And I would also say, it's really fun and easy to pursue the thing that you are the best at. So if what you lack maybe in a ballet class or in flexibility, take all three disciplines, act, sing, and dance, so that you are marketable in this highly competitive world, and be brave enough to do the thing that you are maybe the least comfortable doing.
That's great. Well, again, thank you for taking the time to come downtown to the Channel 8 studios to chat with me. I hope you've had as much fun as I've had.
We love that. I appreciate your support of the arts, and it's really an honor to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will see you. What's the date again for both of you?
October 18 is the opening of, I almost said Hedwig, not Hedwig, of Rocky Horror at the Athenaeum.
Through November 2nd.
Zach and
How
Zach.
do people get tickets?
ZachandZach.com, or they can Google Rocky Horror Indy, and then it'll link you right through to.
And you'll see some pretty great pictures of Tim in fishnets too. If you go.
Lots of past productions of Rocky Horror.
And do you have anything coming up where we can plug with dates?
The next thing I'm on stage is 9 to 5 with Cindy Collins and my dear friend Deb Wims. So it is an equity contract, but don't tell them. But I would pay them just to be on stage with the two of them. And that doesn't open until April. That's the next time I think I'll be on stage. Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. You'll see me at both. Hopefully.
Great.
Opening night.
All right.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official neighborhood newsletter for 16 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.